So in Storage Hunter Simulator, you can make a lot of money. There are some very, very expensive items, and we're going to be going through how to find the most expensive items so that you can make easy money. If we press tab, we go to the glossary, you've got all your different rarities, it goes up to legendary, and these are the ones that I've discovered so far on this playthrough. And what you want to do is pay attention to the category of the items. But like here, category, hobby and toys, that's what we know about the jukebox. And on top of the glossary, if you have a look at your tools, you want to level these up as high as you can. The verification tool max level will let you verify legendaries. The fixing tool at max level will let you bring them up to perfect so that their market value goes up. But you don't want to be selling them realistically to a pawn shop that you don't actually own. And that's because they're going to take a cut. You're only going to get market value. I'll show you the shop in a moment. But if we go to auctions, what you want to do is you want to have a look for your highest possible tiers to find the good items. They're not necessarily always going to be in the higher tiers. If we have a look, let's just say here, you've got, no, they're very, very close. I need two that are, I mean, I can use this as an example anyway. You see these two tier 2s, what's in the box and junkyard. One's $117, one's $115. Sometimes you may get a tier 1 that's $80 and then another one's $50. You've got your opening price, you've got your location for different items, you've also got your tier of the auction itself, and then you've got the luck of, is the most valuable item going to be in a chest? Are you going to be able to fix it up to a high enough quality for it to be worth loads of money? Are you going to find a random gem or something just sat on the floor and you had no idea it was there until you won the auction? There are lots of different factors that come into finding expensive items, but if we have a look at the legendary stuff that I've got on me at the moment, I have a couple of telescopes, I've got a couple of jukeboxes, a violin, a crown, a vintage camera, then I've got 2 trophies from the summer update. But what I'm going to do is take all of this stuff out. That is not the trophies. I kind of want to keep hold of those, at least for the time being. I'm going to chuck everything into my big truck. We're going to head to the pawn shop. So now we've arrived, the first thing I'm going to do is stop my employee automatically listing. So if I check that box, then what we're going to do is we are going to interact with this and we're going to chuck all of our legendaries in there. So now, if we go in, if we look at the market value, if we go to, let's just say, let's put a jukebox out because it is the most expensive item I've got on me. So what we need to do is find a slot for it, and then you're able to place it and set your price. So you'll see here, market value is $1,633. If I come and I turn on the automatic listing by the employee again, when he eventually puts out one of the jukeboxes like there, it's marked at $24.50. If we take that back to the pawn shop and quickly turn that off again, if we change our specializations, because we're currently doing electronics, household and equipment, if we buy hobby and toys, so if I remove one of these, let's just say I'll remove household, and then I'll spend 1,000 on hobby and toys. Now, if we get him to list, after turning on the specialization, I had to return both the jukeboxes back to the pawn shop. But they've gone from $24.50 up to $2,777. So what the specialization does is it lets you, it says here, they can be items can be listed at 20% higher price, and customers will be more likely to buy them. So instead of selling this for $1,633, if we didn't own the pawn shop, we're now not only selling it for $24.50, but we're also upping it to $2,777 because we have the hobby and toys specialization. So when it comes to your expensive items, learn about the items that are available from auctions and go through the glossary if you need to have a look. It's going to be the higher rarity stuff that's worth the most money. But then also when you own a pawn shop, make sure you're specializing in the stuff that you are selling more often. And realistically, you only want to be selling the stuff that's worth the most money in your main pawn shop, just because you get extras. All the little bits you could probably take over to another pawn shop and start working on the renown. I mean, I'd still do the high rarity, like the higher quality stuff, so the rares, uniques, legendaries, but the cheaper ones I would sell to a random pawn shop, and the more expensive ones, just to keep your money flowing, I would sell them in your own one. But yeah, there's lots of factors, from the opening price of the auction, the tier of the auction, how much people are willing to bid against you, and then owning your pawn shop, the upgrades, the item itself, and understanding the value of them all. But that is how to find the most expensive item to make easy money in Storage Hunter Simulator. And we are going to leave that video there. I will see you guys in the next one.